The first time Dr. Marcus Chen betrayed me, it nearly killed me. This time, now that I've been reborn, it will be his undoing. The irony isn't lost on me, a bitter taste accompanying the ever-present cloying scent of antiseptic that clings to everything in this hospital, a smell I used to associate with healing. Now, a reminder of his treachery. My name is Dr. Elena Vasquez. I'm a cardiologist, or at least I was one of the best. My research was on the verge of revolutionizing cardiac repair, a novel therapy using modified stem cells. My research. The words echo in my head as I stand in the hospital's usually quiet library, the latest issue of the Cardiology Innovations Journal clutched in my hand. My fingers tremble, not from weakness, but from a rage so potent it threatens to consume me. There, on page 37, under the audacious title, A New Dawn in Cardiac Regeneration, is my work, my data, my conclusions, and his name, Marcus Chen, as the lead author. The man I mentored, the man I mistakenly trusted. He didn't just steal my research, he tried to erase me. A wave of dizziness washes over me, the print blurring. The antiseptic smell intensifies. Or maybe it's just the panic clawing its way up my throat. I remember the countless nights spent in the lab, the frustrating setbacks, the exhilarating breakthroughs. Coffee stains on my notes, the hum of the centrifuge a constant lullaby. He'd been there, of course, hovering, offering support, asking insightful questions that now, in retrospect, feel like calculated reconnaissance. My heart, the organ I've dedicated my life to understanding, shatters into a million pieces. How could he deceive me so thoroughly? My vision tunnels. The library shelves seem to warp and sway. I need to breathe. I force myself to take a slow, deliberate breath, then another. The initial shock is giving way to a cold, hard resolve. I won't let him get away with this. I can't. My hand, steadier now, reaches into my pocket for my phone. With meticulous care, I photograph the journal cover, the table of contents, and every single page of his article. My article. Each click of the virtual shutter is a nail in his coffin. This is my quiet power move, the first step in reclaiming what's mine. The antiseptic smell, still there, feels less like a shroud and more like a sterile battleground. I lean against a bookshelf, the cool wood a small comfort against my suddenly feverish skin. The world tilts. I remember thinking, he's not just stealing my work, he's stealing my future. A sudden, sharp pain lances through my chest, far more intense than any angina I've ever diagnosed. It's a searing agony that steals my breath, my sight. The journal slips from my numb fingers, thudding softly onto the carpet. I can hear a distant, muffled shout, someone calling my name. Darkness rushes in, swallowing the antiseptic smell, the rows of books, the image of Marcus's smug face. Then, nothing, or rather something entirely unexpected. A falling sensation, then a jolt, not of pain but of arrival. Like waking from a dream you can't quite recall, only the lingering emotions. The world rights itself with a gasp. The antiseptic is gone. I wake up with a gasp, the scent of brewing coffee, my specific dark roast, the one with chicory filling my apartment. It's the first thing that hits me, so incongruous after the sterile nothingness. My eyes snap open. Sunlight, soft and diffused, streams through my bedroom window, painting stripes across my duvet, in my apartment. Panic, cold and immediate, seizes me. This isn't the hospital. This isn't even the same day. I scramble out of bed, my legs unsteady. The calendar on my wall, the old-fashioned paper kind I still prefer, shows a date circled in red, April 17th, 3 months ago. 3 months before Marcus's betrayal was published, the day before I was scheduled to submit my final manuscript to the Cardiology Innovations Journal. My heart hammers against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat of disbelief. I stumble to the mirror, my reflection stares back, younger, less haunted. The lines of stress around my eyes are fainter. This isn't possible, I whisper, my voice hoarse. My fingers fly to my neck, checking my pulse. Strong, steady. No lingering chest pain. I remember the collapse, the darkness. Was it a dream? A hallucination brought on by stress? But the clarity of it, the visceral memory of the journal in my hands, Marcus's name leering up at me, It felt too real to be a mere figment. The aroma of coffee, rich and comforting, pulls me towards the kitchen. My hand shakes as I pour a cup. I need to think, to calculate. If this is real, if I've somehow returned, then I have a chance. A chance to stop him. A chance to do things differently. But how? And why? The questions feel too enormous for the small space of my sunlit kitchen. My mind races, trying to piece together the sequence of events. The betrayal, the collapse. And now, this. A rebirth. The word lodges in my brain. I test my knowledge, a scientist even in the face of the unbelievable. I recall the headline from a news app on the day of my collapse. A minor earthquake in Chile. I grab my phone, my hands still trembling, and search. Nothing. No earthquake today, April 17th, but I know it will happen. My quiet power move in this impossible new reality is this foreknowledge. I can predict small, insignificant things. A specific stock fluctuation I'd idly noted. The outcome of a local sports game my colleague David was obsessed with. These thoughts are anchors in the swirling chaos of my mind. I'm not insane. Something has happened. The phone rings, shattering the fragile calm. Caller ID, Marcus Chen. My blood runs cold. I almost don't answer, but I know I have to. This is the first test. Elena? His voice, smooth and familiar, now grates on my nerves. Just checking in. How's the paper coming along? Ready for submission tomorrow? I take a deep breath, the smell of my coffee a grounding force. Almost there, Marcus, I say, my voice surprisingly even. Just a few final tweaks. A beat of silence. Great, let me know if you need a fresh pair of eyes on it before you send it off. The offer, once innocuous, now feels predatory. Thanks, Marcus. I'll keep that in mind. He doesn't know he can't know what I know. The game has been reset, and this time I'm writing the rules. The research is still mine, pristine, unsubmitted. And he's about to walk right into my carefully laid trap. He's asking about my progress, and I realize I have an opportunity I didn't before. The decision forms in the quiet hum of my lab, the rain tapping a restless rhythm against the reinforced windows. I won't just stop Marcus this time. Stopping him isn't enough. He needs to be exposed. His ambition turned into his public downfall. So I'll let him steal my research again. But this time it will have a flaw, a critical career-ending flaw, hidden deep within the methodology. A flaw only I know how to exploit. It's a dangerous game, manipulating data, even my own, even for a just cause. But the memory of his name on my work, the theft of my life's passion, burns away any ethical hesitation. I scheme, I plot, I orchestrate. For 2 weeks, I meticulously alter my original manuscript. The core findings remain impressive and groundbreaking. But I introduce a subtle error in the control group parameters, a tiny miscalculation in the dosage protocol for the modified stem cells. It's an error that wouldn't be immediately obvious, one that would lead to initially promising, but ultimately skewed and irreproducible, results in a clinical setting. The kind of error that, when discovered, would devastate any reputation. The rain outside picks up, drumming harder against the glass, a fitting soundtrack to my meticulous deception. My power move is foresight and precision. I create 2 versions of the research. The first, the flawed one, is saved on a new flash drive labeled Final Draft Cardiac Repair. The second, my original perfect manuscript, is backed up on multiple encrypted drives, with time-stamped files and digital signatures that would be irrefutable proof of my authorship, all dated before today. I even email myself a password-protected copy, the digital equivalent of a sealed letter to be opened at the right moment. Marcus, true to form, starts sniffing around. Elena, you look exhausted, he says one afternoon, leaning against my lab bench, his expression a perfect mask of concern. The scent of his cologne, something musky and expensive, feels intrusive in my workspace. Still burning the midnight oil on that paper? Just ensuring every detail is perfect, Marcus, I reply, keeping my tone light, friendly. I feel like I'm performing in a play, every line rehearsed. You know how it is. The closer you get, the more you scrutinize, he nods sympathetically. Absolutely. I've been thinking a lot about your approach with the cytokine cocktail. Ingenious. Have you considered varying the exposure times post-infusion? He's probing, fishing for details. He wants to understand it, to make it his. I've run several simulations, I say, deliberately vague. The current protocol seems to be the most effective. I tap the new flash drive on my desk. It's all in here, finally ready to go. His eyes fix on the flash drive, a flicker of something greed in their depths. Mind if I take a quick look? Just curious to see the final polish. I'm presenting a general update to the internal review board next week, and it'd be great to, you know, generally allude to the exciting work coming out of our department. It's almost too easy. Sure, Marcus, I say, offering him a small, tired smile. Be my guest. Just don't lose it. It's my only copy of the absolute final version. A blatant lie, but one he'll swallow whole. My heart pounds, a mixture of trepidation and a thrill I'm almost ashamed to admit. I'm manipulating him, just as he manipulated me, and he takes the flash drive, his fingers brushing mine. Don't worry, Elena. It'll be safe with me. He gives me a confident smile. I'll get it back to you by morning. The board meeting is on Tuesday. I'm sure they'll be very impressed by what you found. I watch him walk away, the flash drive clutched in his hand like a trophy. The rain continues to fall, a steady, cleansing sound. He's taken the bait. He'll present my flawed research to the medical board, claiming it as his own. The first domino has fallen. And I know with chilling certainty that he won't just allude to it. He'll make it the centerpiece of his presentation, eager to claim the glory. The cliffhanger isn't if he'll steal it, it's how spectacularly he'll crash when the flaws are revealed. A month after Marcus borrows my research, I become his patient. The irony is a sharp, satisfying tang on my tongue. The examination table paper crinkles beneath me, a familiar sound, but this time I'm on the receiving end. A willing participant in my own elaborate charade. I've fabricated a constellation of symptoms: subtle arrhythmias, intermittent chest tightness, a persistent, unshakable fatigue. Symptoms that, according to the flawed parameters in his newly acquired research, would point directly to the novel cardiac condition my paper discovers. I perform for him, a carefully constructed portrayal of a worried patient. It's just, I've been feeling off, Dr. Chen, I say, my voice laced with just the right amount of anxiety. Little flutters in my chest, and I'm tired all the time, more than usual. The faint, sterile smell of his private clinic is a stark contrast to the familiar, research-focused scent of the hospital labs. He listens, his brow furrowed in that practiced look of deep concern I once found reassuring. Now it's just another part of his act. Tell me more, Elena. When did these symptoms start? He makes notes on his tablet, his stylus clicking softly. I guide him, subtly, towards the diagnosis outlined in my flawed research. I describe symptoms that mirror the specific patient profile I'd invented for the paper, the one his stolen data supposedly identifies and offers a revolutionary treatment for. Each consultation, I endure the poking and prodding, the ECGs and echocardiograms, knowing they'll show minor, non-specific irregularities that he, armed with my doctored research, will misinterpret. I mislead him with every carefully chosen word, every feigned wince of discomfort. My quiet power move is meticulous documentation. For my own records, doctor, I say, placing my phone on the corner of his desk during one consultation, its camera lens innocuously visible. My memory's been a bit foggy with all this. He waves a dismissive hand, too engrossed in his impending diagnostic triumph to care. I record every appointment, every question, every increasingly confident assertion he makes based on my flawed data. The recordings are another layer of evidence, another thread in the net I'm weaving. The medical examinations are tense. I have to consciously relax my muscles as he presses the stethoscope to my chest, trying to appear as a genuine patient while my mind races, calculating his next move. He orders blood tests, cardiac MRIs. Each result comes back slightly ambiguous, just enough to fit the narrative of the new syndrome. Interesting, he'd murmur, looking at a printout, the hum of the clinic's air conditioning a low drone in the background. This aligns with some very recent findings, groundbreaking research, actually. We might be looking at something quite specific here, Elena. He's so eager to validate the stolen research, to prove his brilliance. He doesn't see the trap yawning before him, or perhaps he does on some level. During one examination, as he's listening to my heart, his eyes narrow. The paper crinkles again as I shift slightly. Your symptoms are unusually consistent with the profiles in the latest literature, Elena. Almost textbook. There's a hint of suspicion in his voice, a slight tightening around his mouth. My pulse quickens, but I keep my expression neutral, concerned. Textbook. Is that good or bad, doctor? He pauses, then gives a reassuring smile, the suspicion momentarily vanishing, overshadowed by his ambition. It means we might be able to pinpoint exactly what's going on and, more importantly, how to treat it effectively. There's a new protocol, very cutting edge. My protocol, my flawed protocol. He's walking right into it. The mini cliffhanger isn't just his fleeting suspicion, but the dawning realization that he's about to stake his entire reputation on treating me, his colleague, with a revolutionary but dangerously flawed therapy he believes he pioneered. The stage is almost set. The auditorium is packed. A low murmur of anticipation ripples through the crowd as the projector hums, casting a bright rectangle onto the large screen. This is the annual Cardiology Innovators Conference, the premier event in our field, and Dr. Marcus Chen is the keynote speaker. The scent of conference coffee and a faint collective perfume hangs in the air. I watch from the middle of the audience, a ghost at my own feast. He strides onto the stage, confident, beaming. Distinguished colleagues, he begins, his voice amplified, smooth as silk. Today, I am honored to share a breakthrough that will redefine our understanding of cardiac disease and its treatment. He launches into my research, presenting my data as his own, my slides meticulously rebranded with his name and the university's logo. My carefully planted flaw is presented as a nuanced discovery, a subtle marker for a previously unidentified cardiac syndrome. Each claim of my discovery and my team's hard work is a fresh twist of the knife, but a cold satisfaction is blooming beneath the anger. He's devouring the bait, hook, line, and sinker. As he details the revolutionary treatment protocol, the one I designed to fail, a hand goes up in the audience. Dr. Sarah Kim, a sharp, no-nonsense cardiologist from a rival institution, known for her incisive questions. Her voice cuts through the auditorium. Dr. Chen, your control group parameters seem unusually narrow, and the proposed mechanism for your stem cell modification? Have you accounted for potential off-target effects at that dosage? Marcus falters just for a second. The projector's hum seems louder in the sudden quiet. We've conducted extensive simulations, Dr. Kim, he says, a touch of condescension in his tone. The results are conclusive. Conclusive in vitro, perhaps, Sarah presses. But what about in a complex biological system? Do you have any preliminary patient data? Any real-world application to present? This is his moment of hubris. As a matter of fact, I do, Marcus says, a triumphant gleam in his eye. He gestures dramatically. We have a patient, a colleague no less, currently undergoing this very treatment, who has graciously agreed to a live demonstration of its initial efficacy. He's actually gonna do it. The audacity is breathtaking. My quiet power move isn't just the planted flaw, but my willingness to become the living proof of his fraud. They wheel in a portable ECG machine and a monitor. The audience murmurs, intrigued. Marcus explains he'll demonstrate a stabilized heart rhythm and improved cardiac output markers in real time. He expects a triumph. I know what's coming. As he attaches the leads, he announces, "My patient, Dr. Elena Vasquez." Gasps ripple through the crowd. Heads turn towards me. I stand up slowly, my expression carefully neutral. He begins the demonstration. The ECG trace on the large screen is erratic, alarming, the opposite of what he predicted. Murmurs turn into concerned whispers. Marcus's smile freezes. He fumbles with the machine, his face paling. The improved cardiac markers he boasts about are nowhere to be seen. Instead, the monitor displays readings that suggest acute cardiac distress. His research, his stolen glory, is visibly crumbling before the eyes of our most esteemed peers. The live demonstration of the flawed treatment fails, spectacularly, devastatingly. Dr. Chen, I say, my voice clear and steady, carrying across the stunned silence. Perhaps you should explain to the conference why your revolutionary treatment appears to be inducing a tachycardic episode in your patient. His eyes meet mine wide with dawning horror and disbelief. And perhaps, I continue, stepping forward, you should also explain why your patient zero for this new syndrome, the one whose data you've based this entire presentation on, is me. The cliffhanger is absolute. I am not just a patient, I am the evidence. His entire career is about to implode. The silence in the auditorium is heavy, thick with unspoken questions and dawning outrage. The scent of stale coffee and nervous sweat begins to permeate the air. All eyes are on me, then on Marcus, whose face has gone from pale to a sickly green. The projector still hums, forgotten, displaying the erratic ECG of his failed demonstration. Dr. Vasquez? It's Professor Armitage, the conference chair and head of the medical board, his voice a low rumble. Do you have something to add to Dr. Chen's presentation? I do, Professor, I say, my voice calm, my gaze unwavering. I walk towards the stage, not with the feigned weakness of a patient, but with the steady stride of a scientist about to present her findings. My quiet power move is the folder I carry, filled with irrefutable proof. What Dr. Chen has presented today is indeed groundbreaking. However, it is groundbreaking research that he plagiarized from me. A collective gasp, louder this time. Marcus sputters, "This is absurd. Elena is clearly unwell, confused." Am I, Marcus? I turn to him, my voice dropping to a steely tone. Or am I the one whose entire research protocol, down to the specific phrasing in the methodology, you lifted verbatim? I open the folder. I have here my original manuscript, time-stamped and digitally signed, completed 3 weeks before Dr. Chen claims to have made his initial breakthrough. I also have email records, lab notes, and, most interestingly, I hold up my phone. Recordings of my consultations with Dr. Chen, where he diagnosed me with a condition that perfectly matched the flawed patient profile in the research he stole, and then proceeded to treat me with the flawed protocol he also stole. I hand the folder and the phone to Professor Armitage. The shuffle of papers as he begins to leaf through them is the loudest sound in the room. Members of the medical board gather around him, their faces grim. The evidence I've compiled is meticulous, damning. The time-stamped files prove my prior invention. The side-by-side comparison of my original work and Marcus's published paper shows entire paragraphs copied, datasets replicated. The recordings reveal him confidently misdiagnosing me based on the stolen, flawed research. My vindication is unfolding, word by painstaking word. Marcus tries to interrupt, to discredit me. She's manipulating you. This is a personal vendetta. She was jealous of my insights, my ability to take her preliminary ideas and truly develop them. His voice is shrill, desperate. Professor Armitage looks up, his expression like thunder. Dr. Chen, the initial evidence presented by Dr. Vasquez is deeply troubling. The timestamps on her digital files predate your submission by a significant margin. The similarities are not just coincidental, they are identical in many critical sections. He pauses, letting the weight of his words sink in. And your treatment of Dr. Vasquez, based on research whose authorship is now in serious question, and which appears to have had an adverse effect, raises grave concerns about malpractice. My heart feels strangely light, liberated. The fight isn't over, but the tide has turned irrevocably. The board members are looking at Marcus with expressions of utter contempt. His empire of deceit is crumbling. The antiseptic scent I'd associated with his betrayal is now being replaced by the aroma of justice, however slow and methodical its arrival. The board will, of course, conduct a full investigation into these allegations of plagiarism and research misconduct against Dr. Chen, Armitage announces, his voice resonating with authority. Dr. Vasquez, thank you for your courage in bringing this to our attention. The mini cliffhanger hangs in the air. An investigation is officially launched. Marcus's career is on the line, and the truth is finally out. The 3 months following the conference are a blur of investigations, hearings, and the slow, grinding gears of academic justice. The smell of newspaper ink becomes a familiar scent as the story, initially confined to medical circles, breaks into the mainstream media. Celebrated cardiologist accused of plagiarism and malpractice. Research scandal rocks University Hospital. Each headline is a small measure of vindication. The Cardiology Innovations Journal, after its own swift internal review, publishes a full retraction of Marcus's paper. It's a terse, formal statement, but the implications are devastating for him. The editors of Cardiology Innovations Journal hereby retract the article, A New Dawn in Cardiac Regeneration, by Dr. Marcus Chen. Subsequent to publication, credible evidence emerged demonstrating significant portions of the research were plagiarized from the work of Dr. Elena Vasquez. Furthermore, concerns regarding the validity of the presented data and the ethical conduct of the patient treatment described have been substantiated. We extend our sincere apologies to Dr. Vasquez and to the scientific community. The journal even prints a separate, more personal apology from the editor-in-chief on the facing page. My research, untainted and properly attributed, is slated for their next issue with a laudatory editorial preface. Marcus doesn't go quietly. He hires lawyers, issues denials, attempts to paint me as a disgruntled, unstable colleague. But the evidence is too overwhelming. My time-stamped files, the recordings, the clear textual and data matches, they form an unshakable mountain of proof. His university convenes its own disciplinary panel. One by one, his colleagues, his mentors, even some of his former students, distance themselves from him. The keyboard clicks of my lawyer typing out statements and the murmur of hushed conversations in hallways become the soundtrack to his downfall. The final verdict from the medical board is unequivocal. Marcus Chen is found guilty of gross academic misconduct, plagiarism, and medical malpractice. His medical license is revoked. The university terminates his position, stripping him of his tenure and accolades. His carefully constructed career, built on charm and, as it turns out, stolen brilliance, is over. I don't celebrate exactly, but there's a profound sense of relief, of a heavy weight lifted. I reflect on the journey, on the strange rebirth that allowed me this second chance not just for justice, but for a reckoning. The transformation is not just his fall, but my rise from the ashes of his betrayal. My quiet power move is my composure throughout the ordeal. I refuse to be drawn into public slanging matches. I present my evidence calmly, factually, letting it speak for itself. When approached by journalists, I issue a simple statement. The truth has prevailed. I look forward to continuing my research and contributing to the advancement of cardiac medicine. I allow myself a small, private smile as I read the official notice of his license revocation. It's done. The world feels a little cleaner, the air a little fresher. The past, which had once threatened to define me, is now truly behind me. I am no longer just a victim of his deception. I am the architect of his accountability. This is my victory, not born of malice, but of a fierce, unyielding demand for truth. The original date of my collapse, July 17th, arrives, and instead of a hospital bed, I am in my lab, looking towards the future. A year. It's been a year since the conference, a year since Marcus Chen's world imploded, a year since my life took a trajectory I could never have predicted on that day I woke up, reborn. My office, a spacious corner suite overlooking the ocean, is a world away from the cramped, windowless space I once shared near Marcus. The salty tang of the sea breeze, a constant presence through the often open windows, is a daily reminder of this new, expansive chapter. I'm now the director of the newly established Vasquez Institute for Cardiac Research, a state-of-the-art facility funded by a consortium of investors who were, to put it mildly, impressed by my resilience and the brilliance of my actual research. I often reflect on the rebirth, that impossible shift in time. Was it a stress-induced hallucination of incredible lucidity? A genuine anomaly in the fabric of reality? I may never know for sure. But its meaning for me is clear. It was a chance to reclaim my work, my integrity, and ultimately, my future. I don't dwell on the how. I focus on the what now. My research, the real research, is flourishing. We're on the cusp of clinical trials, and the preliminary, and this time meticulously verified data, is incredibly promising. I'm no longer just a scientist. I'm a leader, an innovator, an inspiration to the young team I'm building. Dr. Sarah Kim, the sharp cardiologist who first questioned Marcus at the conference, is now my deputy director and a close collaborator. Our partnership is built on mutual respect and a shared, fierce dedication to ethical science. Together, we are making breakthroughs that Marcus, in his wildest stolen dreams, could only pretend to achieve. The thrill of discovery is back, pure and untainted by betrayal. We inspire each other, pushing the boundaries of what's possible in cardiac regeneration. Our work is a testament to what can be accomplished when integrity and brilliance align. My quiet power move now is how I lead. I mentor young researchers with an open hand, always emphasizing the importance of collaboration and shared credit. I've implemented rigorous protocols for data management and authorship, ensuring that what happened to me can never happen to anyone under my watch. When we publish, every single contributor, down to the intern who ran the baseline assays, is acknowledged. I want to transcend the cutthroat ambition that drove Marcus and foster a new culture of scientific inquiry. Sometimes, in the quiet of the evening, watching the sunset paint the ocean in hues of orange and purple, I wonder if the rebirth was entirely unique to me. The thought is a fleeting one, usually dismissed as a fanciful notion born from an extraordinary experience. I'm grounded in the present, in the tangible success and the promising future. Then, one Tuesday, a new research fellow, Dr. Anya Sharma, a brilliant but initially very timid young woman, approaches me after a team meeting. The scent of Earl Grey tea, her constant companion, drifts from the mug in her hand. She hesitates, then says, "Dr. Vasquez, can I ask you something rather unusual?" I smile encouragingly. "Of course, Anya, what is it?" She looks around, then lowers her voice. "Have you ever experienced something you absolutely know happened, but then it hadn't happened yet? Like, like you got a chance to do it over?" My blood runs cold. The ocean breeze suddenly feels a little too chilly. I look at her, really look at her. The flicker of an old fear in her eyes, the almost desperate hope for understanding. "Tell me more, Anya," I say, my voice carefully neutral, but my heart is pounding. The final twist isn't just that I've built a new life. It's the sudden dawning realization that I might not be alone. That this impossible return, this rebirth, might be a phenomenon far stranger and more widespread than I could ever have imagined. And if it is, what does it mean for the world? For science? For the very nature of time itself? The new beginning suddenly feels like the preface to an even bigger, more complex story.